beautiful day in the upper Midwest, and for one of the final times, indoor baseball in the Twin Cities. Game 2 between the Tigers and the Minnesota Twins. And in the American League Central, the Twins picked up a win last night and a game on the first place Detroit Tigers. It's a 3-game lead for Detroit as we begin play today. And welcome indoors, Dick Bramer along with Rod Allen. The Detroit Tigers have had at least a share of first place in the American League Central since May 10th. 2 weeks ago, that lead was 7 games. Now it's down to 3, and the Tigers need a big game today from Justin Verlander.
That they definitely do. And if you're Jim Leyland, there's not another pitcher you'd love to run out there other than Verlander. He has simply been dominant this year. He has 239 strikeouts, which leaves the American League. Verlander will feature tons of fastballs in the mid to upper 90s, along with a great changeup and an outstanding breaking ball. But this is one of the biggest games he's pitched in his career.
Well, the Twins have been chasing the Tigers all year long. Prior to the trading deadline, they got a guy who's been pretty tough on Detroit this year.
And I'm sure they went out and acquired Carl Pavano for that very reason, because he'd already won 3 games for the Cleveland Indians against the Tigers. Then he comes back and beats the Tigers in his one outing with the Twins, but he has really kept them off balance. The one thing about Pavano, he's only walked 1 Tigers batter in 30-plus innings. They need to be a little bit more aggressive here today.
It is the closest race in baseball, and it looks like it's going to be decided the way it should be decided, with head-to-head competition. Game 2 of this weekend series coming up next. Of flavor and refreshment, Budweiser, the great American lager. Take a look at the Detroit Tigers starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bunch. Jim Leyland going with a lot of the veterans that he has on the roster, even though some of those veterans have struggled against Carl Pavano. Magglio Ordonez didn't make any difference whether he was with the White Sox or the Tigers. He's always hit pretty well here in Minnesota. And here is Carl Pavano making another start for the Minnesota Twins. He's been everything they could have hoped since they got him from the Indians.
Well, they brought him over to help them try to win the division, which he has done. He has been tremendous this year against the Detroit Tigers.
And the sprint pitcher profile on Carl Pavano.
I talked about the fact that he's been masterful against Detroit this year. He's 4-0 with a 1.48 earned run average. And one of the reasons he's been so good, he's had the uncanny ability to mix his pitches up well, whether it's the fastball away or the changeup, which has been a very key pitch for him in his starts against the Tigers.
Here's Curtis Granderson to get things started. First pitch lifted foul and back into the seat, strike one. Granderson hit 7th in the series opener last night, back in his customary leadoff spot with the right-hander Pavano going today.
Granderson already giving you an idea how the Tigers hitters will come out this afternoon against Pavano. They need to be a little bit more aggressive against him.
And another foul, 2 strikes. Pavano, for whatever reason, has had the Tigers eating out of the palm of his hand all year long.
Tigers have a very aggressive offense, and one of the things Pavano has been able to do is move his fastball around very well against the Tigers, and they have not done very well against him. They haven't hit many balls hard against Pavano this year.
A called third strike, and Granderson's gone on 3 pitches.
A well-located cut fastball here. Actually, swing back fastball that catches the inside corner, and a nice job there by the phenom Mauer holding that ball there long enough to give Tony Randazzo a really good look at it.
So 1 gone, and Placido Polanco comes to the plate. And Polanco takes one down the middle of the strike. Pavano, among other things, a strike throwing machine. You talked about how he hasn't walked the Tigers much at all this year. He generally walks 1, maybe 2 a ball game, and that's it. 1 strike to Polanco. And now a ball.
That is an absolute must for Pavano these days. When he came up with the Boston Red Sox in the mid-90s, he was a hard thrower. His fastball got around 95, 96, but he's had lots of injuries the last 4 years. Therefore, he's had to reinvent himself, and control and command is a prerequisite to that.
And Polanco takes it sharply up the middle for a base hit. And Pavano acquired by the Twins in part because he's pitched awfully well against the team the Twins have been trying to chase.
When he was with the Cleveland Indians this year, he was 3-0 against Detroit, and then when Minnesota made a deal for him, he beat the Tigers in the 1 start he had there. But you see the control, just 1 base on balls this year against Tigers hitters.
Twins general manager Bill Smith sitting next to the former general manager Terry Ryan. Carlos Guillen in the lineup. He's hitless in 9 at-bats against Pavano. Swing and a miss. Now teams have been running almost at will against Pavano, even though Joe Mauer, a Gold Glove winner behind the plate last year, has been his catcher.
Ron Gardenhire talked about that before the game. He talked about the fact that Mauer has an outstanding arm, but there's been a few pitchers, and Pavano is one of those, that has not given him enough time to throw. Polanco is not a base stealer by trade, but with those numbers you mentioned, the fact that there's been so many successful against Pavano, there will be a few Tigers that take off that don't usually run.
Polanco 7 of 9 in stolen bases, and the Tigers have had a tough time generating offense, and there he goes. And the pitch lifted foul and out of play, 2 strikes. Jim Leyland has been begging for some offense, either in the power department, trying to create a little something here early in the ball game this afternoon.
And Polanco gets a really good jump here, but with 1 strike and knowing you're going to get that fastball from Pavano, nothing Guillen could do but swing.
So now 2 strikes to the hitter. Polanco stays put, blocked by Mauer. Polanco will advance anyway. A pitch in the dirt. Mauer had it kick away from him up the first baseline, and Polanco advances to second base.
Polanco is a manager's dream. As soon as this ball goes down in the dirt, he is off and running towards second base. He knows it's going to be tough for Mauer to pick it and then throw him out. There are so many things that Polanco does on a day-to-day basis that does not show up in the box scores. He is one of the best second basemen in the American League.
A wild pitch advancing Polanco to scoring position for Guillen, who now has a 1-2 count. And another strikeout. Guillen looking back. see whether that pitch was in the strike zone or not. A swing and a miss and a big second out for Pavano.
Well, we talked about the fact that changeup would be a key pitch for Pavano. And there you get a look at an off-speed pitch that kept Carlos Guillen fooled and out in front of that.
Here's Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera and the rest of the Tiger lineup held in check last night. Twins won the ball game 3-0. And Cabrera with a big swing and a miss of an off-speed pitch.
First 4 hitters in the Tigers lineup last night did not get a hit. He started the first 3 guys off with fastballs, then he comes back with a changeup to Cabrera. And one of the reasons for that is Cabrera notorious for swinging at the first pitch.
Trying to get the first lead of the ball game here with Polanco at 2nd and 2 away. 2 strikes. Wow, Pavano with 12 pitches, 10 of them for strikes.
It's just the way that he has pitched against the Tigers all year.
Cabrera doing his part to try to keep the Tigers in first place. And again, this has not been a mirage. They've been the best team in the division. Say what you want about the division, but the Tigers have been at the top of it since May 10th.
First place.
2 strikes to Miguel Cabrera. To short center. And that'll die in front of Span for a base hit. Cabrera with a soft pop fly single to center. And the Tigers get the first run of the game.
If you're Span, you have to play deep in center field, respecting the power of Cabrera. And when a big physical hitter takes a full swing, you're not quite sure whether he hit that ball on the sweet part of the bat or whether he gets jammed. And Polanco able to score rather easily with 2 outs.
So Cabrera at first with 2 out, a runner on the board, and Aubrey Huff, the hitter, the designated hitter for Jim Leyland today. Shattered bat and another little pop-up. This time Cabrera makes the catch in short left field. Couple of hits, and the first run of the game going to Detroit. The Tigers will take a look at the Minnesota Twins starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. He missed the first month of the season and has led the majors in hitting almost from the get-go. He has enough plate appearances to win a batting championship, and if he does, Joe Mauer would have won his 3rd batting title, and he'll try to get something done here tonight against Justin Verlander, who in his own right's a Cy Young Award candidate.
And making his 32nd start of the season, has 3 complete games and leads the American League in strikeouts.
Denard Span takes a strike on the outside corner. Span's had his batting average over 300 most of the season, and he lines it foul over the Twins' dugout, 2 strikes.
It's going to be very important for Verlander to keep Span off the base paths in this ball game this afternoon, which the Tigers have had a tough time doing all year long. Span plays his best baseball against the Detroit Tigers.
2 strikes, and Span takes up and away, and Jim Leland asked about it. He said, well, look, if I knew why he was doing so well against Detroit, he wouldn't be doing so well against Detroit. Busted bat and a little roller to Cabrera, and the first out of the inning. Here's the sprint pitcher profile in Justin Verlander.
And Verlander is a dominant power pitcher these days. The majority of his fastballs will be 95 miles per hour and above. But he can also back off with an outstanding changeup and a very good curveball to go with the mid-90s fastball. But one of his issues this year has been the fact that Verlander has not been able to stay away from the big inning. Too many times this year, the opposing team has been able to put a crooked number on the board against Verlander, and his offense has not been able to bail him out.
Fastball outside to Orlando Cabrera, mid-season acquisition for the Twins from Oakland. And a fastball over for a strike, 1-1. Cabrera, if nothing else, has stabilized the infield a little bit. The Twins have had kind of a chaotic situation in the middle of the infield with a handful of players playing short, a handful of those same players playing at second, and Cabrera, since coming to the Twins, has missed a couple of games, but other than that, he's been their shortstop ever since the trade. On the outside corner, 2-2.
Well, Nick Punto, who was starting this ball game at second base, was playing a lot of shortstop early in the season, but he was struggling offensively. Cabrera was expendable. They got him from the Oakland Athletics, and he's a good big league player on both sides of the ball.
Verlander, as you look at the radar readings, you'll see him in the mid-90s. Every once in a while, he'll top out around 98, 99 miles per hour.
If Verlander throws 115 pitches in this game, about 65 to 75 of the fastballs will be above 95 miles an hour.
Full count to Cabrera with Mauer on deck. Skied near second base, and Polanco comes in. 2 down. And Mauer earlier this year had a great early at-bat against Justin Verlander. First pitch he saw from Verlander, hit it over the left field fence for his 20th home run, and a 2-0 lead in the first. Twins went on to win that game 11-0.
Joe Mauer takes the first pitch on any at-bat 90% of the time. Therefore, Verlander laid a fastball in there, and it just so happened that Mauer was first pitch swing in the first inning, and he hit a 3-run home run against Verlander.
In there for a strike. So much focus on Mauer's batting average, and when you're hitting 373, of course, that's appropriate. But Mauer also has a chance to hit 30 home runs this year. His prior career high was 13. He also has a chance to drive in 100 runs, and his prior career high was 84, and all of this after missing the first month of the season.
He's the MVP in the American League as we speak, and probably the best left-handed hitter in all of baseball.
1-1 to Mauer, and a high drive to right to tie the game. And he's 1 home run closer to number 30.
Is there anything that this guy can't do?
And Mauer going back to his first at bat back at Comerica Park, hitting a first inning home run to left field, where most of his home runs have gone. Tonight he pulls it, or today, into the upper deck in right field to tie the game.
That just gives you an idea of how good he could be. That's a good firm fastball inside, off the plate, on the black, and he pulls his hands in nicely and gets underneath it and hits that ball about 450 feet.
Kubel takes a fastball for ball one, then swings at one to even the count.
And you bring up a great point talking about Mauer. Of the 30 home runs he's hit, the good majority of those have gone the opposite way. So he has power in that direction, but if he ever learns how to pull the ball the way that he did right there against Verlander, then his numbers will be off the charts.
Earl Batty with the club record for home runs as a catcher. Mauer has a handful of home runs as the designated hitter. That ball landed 3 feet in front of the plate. 2-2. Minnesota fans were waiting for Mauer's power, and the assumption was that if he ever did hit for power, it would be because he pulled the ball more. He's hit for more power, but he hasn't pulled the ball any more than he did when he won his first 2 batting titles as a singles hitter. He's continued to drive the ball to left field. He's just hitting it farther this year.
I think the Minnesota Twins as an organization handled Mauer perfectly when he was coming up through the minors. They didn't force power on him. They let it develop naturally.
Kubel with a liner to Cabrera to end the inning. Mauer goes deep, and we're tied at 1 after 1. Pavano, the Twins answer with a Joe Mauer home run onto the second inning, and Maglio Ordonez to lead it off against Carl Pavano. And Ordonez swings and misses. And boy, up and down this Tiger lineup. As you said, the Tigers are going after Pavano early in the count.
Well, they know how he's attacked them in the previous 4 outings he's had against them this year, where he's been sensational. Lots of first pitch strike for fastballs, well located. He moves the ball in and out. He changes speeds on the fastball and on his changeup. And the Tigers just have been able to do nothing this year with Pavano.
1-1 to Ordonez. Now pitch inside, 2-1.
Well, Jim Leland said if the Tigers are going to finish off this division and win it, then their big boys simply have to show up and start producing. And Maglio is one of those guys, along with Cabrera, Granderson. They've got a ton of guys that have made all-star teams.
And that's flared foul, 2-2.
But they're playing a little tight right now. In that ball game here at the Metrodome, you could see that they're starting to feel a little bit of the pressure of staying in first place and finishing off the division.
Tapper to third. Brian Busher's there today for the Twins. Over to Kadire, 1 away. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Budweiser, is sponsored by Sprint. Get more done with Nextel Direct Connect, only from the Now Network. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by the all-new Taurus from Ford, drive one. One gone in the second. Brandon Inge to the plate for the Tigers. Not much of an exaggeration route, I don't think, to say that Brandon Inge essentially is playing on one leg. He's got a really bad left knee, and the right one maybe is starting to follow suit a little bit. And now he gets hit in the hand. Well, Inge will go to first. Last night, Polanco got plunked.
A little two-seam fastball ran in on Brandon, who looked like he was a little jumpy here. He couldn't get that right elbow out of the way.
It's about where Polanco got hit last night.
And you bring up a great point, talking about the fact that Brandon, for the most part, the second half of this season, has played with some issues as far as his patella tendon in the left knee. And that one is worse than the right knee. He does not know whether he's going to have it surgically repaired in the offseason or not, but it definitely has been an issue for Brandon.
Gerald Laird, the hitter, with Inge aboard and 1 away. Down and away, ball 1. Laird is struggling offensively, particularly in the second half in his first year with the Tigers.
He has not shown up offensively the way that he has in the past. But he continues to work very hard. Laird is one of those guys that takes lots of extra batting practice, but for whatever reason, offensively, he just has not been consistent this year. But the good thing for the Tigers and Laird and the pitching staff is he's not taken some of the bad at-bats to the field with him defensively. He's had a tremendous year as a catcher, throwing the baseball as we look at his splits, first half of the season versus the second half of the season with the batting average.
And a little flare into right center field, a base hit, and Inge will hold up at second. So the Tigers get their third hit. A soft single to right center field, first and second with 1 away. Catch all the action of the 2009 MLB postseason on Fox and TBS. The excitement begins October 7th with the Division Series. And on Fox, the postseason will begin on October 16th. Here's Adam Everett. Has been, as we said with Orlando Cabrera and the Twins, kind of a stabilizing force for the Twins at short. Everett's been that for the Tigers.
Well, the Tigers for a couple of years had Edgar Renteria, who they had acquired from the Atlanta Braves, and gave up an outstanding pitcher in Jair Jurgens to get Renteria, but Renteria never really played well at shortstop, so they went out to try to stabilize that position in the offseason, and Adam Everett was the guy that they brought in to stabilize the shortstop position, and he has done that. He's been very steady for the Tigers this year at that position.
1-0 to Everett. And a foul back, 1-1. And oddly, the Twins were looking for Everett to do that very thing for them last year, but he had a bum shoulder and couldn't play much.
Everett said he got caught off guard with the Minnesota Twins team last spring training, how hard Minnesota works as far as all the ground balls they take in spring training, all the throwing that the infielders do in spring training. And then he kind of got injured with the hamstring and the shoulder, and he never got on track. He said the infielders of the Minnesota Twins take more ground balls than any infield he's ever seen before.
Poke to the right side, picked up by Punto. Off balance throw to Kadire. He gets the second out at first, and both runners move up.
It really doesn't matter where you put Nick Punto. He's got tremendous range, and a lot of balls that second baseman or shortstop or third baseman, wherever he's playing, they just don't get to. But he's got the tremendous versatility and range in the infield.
Here's Granderson, called out on strikes, retired on 3 pitches to start the ball game. Big spot here Pavano with a couple of men in scoring position and 2 away. To center, and Span hustling back, makes the catch to end the second inning. The Tigers threaten again. They come up empty and trying to get a big hit against Carl Pavano. Presented by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect combination of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. Tied at 1 in Minnesota with Michael Kadire leading off the second for the Twins. He'll be followed by Delman Young and Jose Morales. Kadire has filled in at first base in the absence of Justin Morneau and filled in admirably in the middle of the lineup in terms of providing some pop in the middle of that lineup.
It's no coincidence a guy like Kadire has stepped up in the last week and really in the month of September. Since Morneau has been ailing. Morneau tried to play through that ailing back, but finally got to a point where he just had to shut it down.
And in a season where every team in the division has been puzzled as to how this season has gotten to where it's gotten, one of the great puzzles is this week started with Justin Morneau's news that he was going to be done for the year, and the Twins follow it up with maybe their best week of baseball. Here's a drive to center. Granderson chasing it, and near the track he hauls it in about where Span caught the third out of the top of the inning. So Kadire retired. Kadire has really stepped up at a time when the Twins have needed him to do that, and consequently the Twins have that 5-game winning streak.
450 in the last 5 games with 3 home runs. He hit one here last night against Rick Porcello for 2 runs, and that's really all the runs that Minnesota needed.
Delman Young on the first pitch skips one into center field for a 1-out single.
That pitch may have been too good a pitch to Delman Young on the very first pitch. He's one of those guys that loves to swing at the first pitch, and if you get this much plate, he's going to put it in play.
Man aboard, 1 out, and Jose Morales, the designated hitter. Morales, a third catcher for the Twins in September, is one of those guys that's simply hard to get out if you're a pitcher, and for that reason he's taken over the DH spot here midway through this 5-game winning streak and is in there again today. Down and in, that ball rolls away from Laird, but Young unable to advance.
Well, if you're going to play some meaningful games in the month of September, as both of these clubs are doing here, and tonight you've got to get some nice contributions from some players that you weren't counted on. And Morales is one of those guys. And there we have it. I talked about the fact that Laird, even though this year has struggled offensively, catching-wise, there's been few better in the American League.
Well, the first Young getting back. Morales' increased playing time comes not coincidentally with Morneau's departure from the lineup. Jason Kubel, who had been the designated hitter for the Twins, now has become an outfielder with Kadire coming to the infield. That opens up the DH spot, and right now Jose Morales is the hottest hitter on the bench.
Well, most managers this part of the season going to go with the hot hand, the guys that are getting it done. Verlander has a very quick move, which is one of the reasons why Young does not have a big lead at first base.
2-0 now to Morales.
As a matter of fact, for a guy that throws fastballs anywhere from 95 to 100 miles an hour, I can't think of another big, strong right-hander that has the foot quickness that Verlander has when picking the first.
And now 3-0. This is the first time today that Verlander's been pitching from the stretch. Twins got their run in the first on a home run from Mauer, so now Verlander from the stretch position is missed with the first 3 offerings to Morales. Morales almost certainly would be taking here. Not a power hitter, just a high average hitter. And he takes a strike.
If you're Ron Gardenhire and you wanted to do something, you could do something in this situation. 3 balls and 1 strike. And the fact that Morales has made a lot of contact since coming to the big leagues, and you've got a little bit of speed at first base with Young. So if nothing else, it helps you stay out of the double play if he hits it on the ground.
Young stays put, and it's ball 4. First and second, 1 away. Time now for a direct TV game break. Thank you to the West Coast. Eugenio Velez hitting a fly ball off John Garland to left in the general direction of Manny Ramirez, but off his glove for a 2-base error. And the Giants later the Giants had a 1-0 lead. Belliard with a grand slam, and now the Dodgers have a 5-1 lead. Here's Brian Busher. As you look at the National League divisional race, the Dodgers with a 5-game lead over the Rockies. Busher taking strike 1.
Looks like the Dodgers are going to be able to hold off the Rockies for the division. That Colorado Rockies team, after they fired their manager Clint Hurdle, and Jim Tracy, is going to get some serious recognition for NL Manager of the Year. That's how good he's been.
So going to miss 2 strikes to Busher. You see the outfield playing Busher to hit it the other way. As much respect for Verlander's fastball as anything else. Hard for anybody to pull a 95-mile-per-hour fastball.
All 3 playing real shallow as well. Ordonez, Granderson.
And Busher's gone in 3 pitches.
And also Guillen in left playing very shallow. Verlander has the ability to do this. And he can reach back and he can throw you a fastball right down the middle and throw it by some guys. That fastball was at 97. There's a handful of guys in the big leagues today that can throw their fastball right down the middle in fastball counts and throw it by most big league hitters. Verlander would be one of those guys.
Here's Punto, 2 on and 2 out. And he takes up high, ball 1.
These are the types of guys that give power pitchers problems. Guys that aren't really trying to find the gaps. They're just simply trying to put the ball in play and allow the pitcher to supply most of the power. Punto would fall into that category. Very short, quick, compact swing. And he's kind of turned it up a notch here lately. He's playing offensively much better than he was earlier in the year.
And he's done that by cutting down on his strikeouts, becoming more of a contact hitter. And as you said, he started the year as the Twins shortstop. And the way things have evolved, he's now their second baseman. Alexi Casilla has been a huge disappointment for the Twins this year. He was one of the catalysts on last year's near playoff team for Minnesota. Missing inside 2-1 to Punto.
The majority of the pitches that Verlander has thrown here today have been fastballs. And Verlander has a very good changeup. He also has nice depth with his curveball. And his last 6-7 starts, he's been tinkering with the slider. We'll point a few of those out for you this afternoon.
Skied foul and into the seats, 2-2.
Just what American League hitters wanted to
Another
hear.
pitch.
Verlander's got himself a slider now. He'll throw about 2 or 3 good sliders a game. He won't get beat with that pitch. It's still a developing pitch for him, but he has added it.
Season high 13 strikeouts against the Twins earlier this year. So far, just 1 strikeout. Getting Busher in a key spot now, hoping to get Punto to get out of the inning. And a foul tip out of the glove of Laird.
The Metrodome is a tough place to play for most opposing teams that come in here. Minnesota always has a team that has tons of rabbits on it. They field their positions very well. They run the bases very well. It's a fast game in the Metrodome, and a lot of teams, when they come here, they're not equipped to play the game the same way Minnesota plays here.
After the Tigers leave here tomorrow, only the Royals will be coming here. This is the last year of the Metrodome. Next year, the Twins open up brand new Target Field. And Punto, as he's done over the last couple of weeks, staying alive with 2 strikes, simply trying to put the ball in play someplace.
Verlander reached back to get 99 with that last fastball, but when Verlander is pitching, a lot of foul balls for him.
In the 5th inning, they'll take that number 5 down and reveal the number 4, signifying the number of indoor baseball games left in Minnesota. 2-2 again to Punto. And he hopes it foul. They've done a nice thing here in Minnesota. They've had honorary guests take down the numbers, and today it'll be the son of former Twins great Bob Allison, Mark Allison. Bob wore number 4 for his Twins career. Tom Kelly revealed number 10. He wore number 10 in his managerial career here. Kent Herbeck, number 14. There's Bob, a Twins Hall of Famer. Punto again fouling it back. One of the approaches teams take against Verlander is to do what Punto's doing here, try to run up the pitch count in the hopes of getting him out of the game sooner rather than later.
Well, your chances increase greatly when you get an impact pitcher out of the game like Verlander, regardless of how good the team's bullpen is. They're not better than Verlander. So that's a great point, and there's a lot of teams that have that same approach against Justin. Get him out of the game as soon as possible. He may need to go to one of his secondary pitches here.
Punto grounds it. Great stop at first by Cabrera. And the out at second base. Miguel Cabrera with a run-saving stab. A force out at second base. And a long at bat ends with a great defensive play. Polanco to lead things off against Carl Pavano. Each team put together a second inning threat. Cabrera with a fine defensive play.
Couple of steps and a dive and a nice firm throw to the shortstop Everett to get the force out there, and he's gotten a lot better at first base. He came to the Tigers as a third baseman, but they made him into a first baseman last year. He continues to get better at that position.
A similar play in last night's game. He got the out at first base, 1-1. Polanco singled sharply to center field, ended up scoring on a looping base hit by Cabrera. Down the middle, 1-2. Carlos Guillen on deck. Cabrera to follow. Polanco doesn't bite on the breaking ball. Talked with Pavano yesterday about his start today and his success against the Tigers, and he said it really doesn't have any explanation for it other than being able to make big pitches in key spots, such as the pitch he used to get Granderson to strand a couple of runners in the second.
He's just kept the ball out of the middle of the plate, and he's done as much today so far. And when you add and subtract on your fastball and you throw your breaking ball off the plate, occasionally with some good changeups, you're going to keep hitters off balance, and that's what he's done against Detroit.
Still 3-2.
One thing is for certain with this Minnesota Twins team, since Gardenhire has been their manager, they are always in the hunt in the month of September. He is a nice leader.
And a base hit to right field now for Polanco, leading off the third inning. In the American League East, it's not over with, but the Yankees in control of that division, as the Angels are in the West and the Red Sox are in the wild card. Only in the American League Central is there a race going on, and that's been the result of Minnesota's 5-game winning streak. As we said at the outset, 2 weeks ago, this was a 7-game lead for Detroit.
And Detroit was playing some really good baseball. They had just gone into Tampa and swept the Tampa Bay Rays in a 3-game series, and at that time they held a 7-game lead. But then the team went to Kansas City and got swept by Kansas City. Kansas City has beaten the Tigers 5 out of their last 6 games, all in a span of 10 days.
Popped up, straight up. Brian Busher for the first out. If the Tigers win the Central, and if the 4 playoff teams are New York, Detroit, Boston, and Los Angeles, the Tigers would go to New York. The Red Sox, as the wild card winner, would go out to the West Coast. Keeping in mind, of course, that the wild card winner can't play its division winner in the first round of the playoffs.
Well, one thing we know about postseason baseball, whichever pitching staff is the hottest, they're going in and their bullpen is pitching the best baseball, usually is the team that's going to advance to the next round. And all of those teams that were on that list have some pretty good 1-2 combinations as far as the rotation is concerned.
Cabrera dropped a single in front of Span to drive in the Tiger run in the first. Polanco had singled, went to second on a wild pitch, and then scored on the 2-out single. Another base hit to right field. And Polanco checks in at second.
It's a fastball up that Cabrera a little bit tardy on, but when you take the proper angle and you're leading with the bat knob, which allows the barrel of the bat to stay over the heart of the plate a long time, just by creating that bat angle, you can hit some balls the other way.
Here's Huff, who broke his bat to end the game, hitting a soft line drive to Joe Nathan last night. Then in his first swing today, broke his bat and hit a little pop-up caught by Cabrera in short left field.
This is why they acquired Huff. and got him from the Baltimore Orioles for this very reason, to go up against right-handed pitching and provide some left-handed pop. And you see how they shade him in the infield. It's always to the pull field because that's where he hits the majority of his balls when he does hit it on the ground.
Down the middle of strike, 1-1.
In the outfield, they play him straight up. But one of the things going into this game today is the fact that Carlos Guillen, in the 4 starts Pavano's had against Detroit, only played in 2 of those games. And Aubrey Huff has not played in any of those games. So they got a couple of big left-handed bats that they're hoping can help them figure out and solve Pavano this afternoon.
Bouncer toward the hole and through. Young charges. But around third, Polanco is going to score, and the Tigers retake the lead at 2-1. Impressive hitting by the veterans with a couple of the hits. In fact, all 3 of them going to the opposite field.
Well, let's take a look at how Pavano attacked Pavano. First pitch breaking ball, which is down. And now if you're Pavano and you also Huff, you start to know exactly how the defenders are defending you. Huff saw that Orlando Cabrera, the shortstop, was shading him up the middle, so he found that seam on the left side of the infield and connected. And as I said before, that's why they acquired Aubrey Huff.
6 singles for the Tigers, 3 of them here in the 3rd inning. It's 2-1 Detroit, and here's Ordonez. Down and away, ball 1. Ordonez with a bouncer to third his first time up. Two and 0. Pavano, when he was acquired by the Twins, drove around the lake from Cleveland to Detroit, put on a Twins uniform, started and beat the Tigers, and now hoping to do it again here this afternoon. Lifted foul and out of play. Ordonez with just 1 run batted in September, even though he's been picking up hits in bunches. And he's in a big RBI spot here with 2 men aboard and 1 out.
If you're Aubrey Huff running from first base because Kadire's giving you a lot of room, you have to get a good secondary lead in case Maglio hits the ball on the ground. He has grounded into 17 double plays this year.
Twins get 1, but not 2, and a little nubber hit back to Pavano. 2 down, runners at first and third.
And ball not hit hard enough for Cabrera to turn over, and Cabrera was also bracing himself for contact. He used the bag to protect him from the slide of Huff, and when you're backing up on the ball and you're throwing flat-footed, you're not going to get a lot on your throw, and he didn't get a lot on his throw. And that allowed Maglio to beat that ball out safely down the first baseline.
Brandon Inge was hit by a pitch his first time up. And again, Pavano misses with his first offering, 1-0. Early on, it seemed like every first pitch was a strike. Now, as of late, the first pitches are out of the strike zone.
It looks like Mauer is mixing it up a little bit. The first couple of innings, there were lots of fastballs he was starting the Tigers hitters off with, but he's thrown a few breaking balls on the first pitch in this inning to a few of the hitters.
2-0. Been in some trouble in all 3 innings, giving up a run in the first, getting out of a jam in the second, and so far a run here in the third. To center, playable for Span, and the inning ends. 3 singles and a run for the Tigers. They lead at 2-1. Get MLB banking only from Bank of America.
I deeply appreciate the people of Michigan. I love their grit. I love the way they face life. I love the family values they have. And you Tiger fans are the greatest fans of all. No question about that. And I certainly want to thank you from the depth of my heart for your devotion, your support, your loyalty, and your love. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
All right. That was Wednesday night at Comerica Park within the game, which gives you some measure as to how beloved Ernie Harwell is. Bernard Span slashes one to the gap in left center field for a base hit. How beloved Ernie Harwell is, not just in Michigan, but I think all over the country.
Not a dry eye at Comerica Park that evening. Ernie, 42 years as an announcer, a Ford C. Frick Award winner in 1981, first active broadcaster inducted into Baseball Hall of Fame, and as good of an announcer as he is a better human being.
Diagnosed with an inoperable tumor. And one of the best things about this job, I think you would agree, is you get to, every once in a while, meet someone with the grace and charm of Ernie Harwell. And under the assumption that Ernie is back in Michigan watching, best wishes from your thousands and thousands of fans in Minnesota.
Ernie came to the ballpark that evening. He met with the players, Jim Leland and their staff. He also talked to Mike Ilitch, the owner. And then he also went into the umpires room, which is something I heard Ernie always did. He liked to go in and chop it up with the umpires every now and then. He came upstairs, met with the media, and then he addressed the fans on the field in the third inning. So just a really special evening at Comerica Park that night.
Span takes off. Pitch called a strike, and Laird throws out another runner.
Gerald Laird would win a Gold Glove this year and should win a Gold Glove this year, but he's not going to get it. Mauer's going to be the one, but this is what he has done all year long. Look at the transfer. The ball never stops. He gets on that front side, which allows the arm to get up, and most of his throws have been right on the bag. Also, a very good job here. Look at Laird's grip here on the ball. I mean, he has a grip of where he – three fingers on the baseball. He's one of the few guys that I've ever seen throw the baseball with 3 fingers on it. He said he started doing that when he was in Little League. He wanted to be a catcher, and his hands were so small that he couldn't grip the baseball. So he started throwing that way. It's become so comfortable for him that he continues to throw that way.
It's almost like some pitchers add a finger to take speed off the ball, but here he can obviously get it down there in pretty good shape to throw out a lot of runners.
His accuracy has been tremendous.
Cabrera flips it foul, still 2-2. And the Twins tried to run on the Detroit battery. Verlander throwing the ball to the plate so quickly, and Laird getting rid of it so quickly. Span thrown out at second. 2-2. The Twins shortstop, and another foul.
We were talking to Ron Gardenhire before the game in his office, and one of the questions that I posed to him, would he continue to try to run on this combination of Verlander and Laird? And he said, we're going to do what we do. If one of our guys gets on and it's the right situation, we're not going to back down from the challenge. But they've got to get a better jump, because Laird has been one of the better throwers in all of baseball this year.
And Span, no slouch at stealing bases. He's stolen 21, but it was his 10th throwout at second base. Cabrera having a long at bat. 53rd pitch of the day for Verlander, and it's a strikeout. Verlander's second of the ball game, 2 down.
Take a look at the jump that he gets here. He's got 1 foot on the carpet, which indicates a real good lead on artificial surface. He takes one look in. He knows contact wasn't made. But look at Polanco. He's waiting for him. But look at where Polanco takes the throw. He allowed the ball to travel all the way to second base, where all you have to do is grab it and then apply the tag instead of catching it out in front and trying to bring it back. That's what the middle infielders of the Tigers do very well when Laird is throwing.
Here's Mauer. Cranked a home run into the upper deck to tie the game at 1.
Well, Mauer needs to get a little bit of the Albert Pujols treatment. There's no need in pitching to the best hitter in the American League, even if you're Justin Verlander. Albert Pujols with 42 intentional base on balls in the National League. And Mauer should get a whole lot more of that treatment since Morneau is not playing.
Last night, with the bases empty in the first inning, Rick Porcello, outstanding young Detroit pitcher, didn't intentionally walk him, but certainly didn't give him much to hit and ended up walking him in 5 pitches. Then later in the game, Mauer was intentionally walked. Swing and a miss, 1-2. And like they do in St. Louis, Twins fans here now, every time Mauer swings the bat, you see the flashbulbs go off. A special player who might be on the verge of winning his 3rd batting title. He's the only American League catcher to ever win 1. Mauer will stand in, and everybody has their cameras ready. Local product here in the Twin Cities. 1-2 from Verlander. Verlander strikes Mauer out, gives up a leadoff single, but faces just 3 men in the inning. Of America. Show the world it's not like, it's love. Get MLB banking only from Bank of America. By Zantac. Heartburn? Attack it. Zantac. And by Chevy. There is Target Field, next year's home for the Minnesota Twins. They put the sod in, and about 60-70% of the seats are in. No, there's not a roof. But Twins fans who have been watching indoor baseball since 1982 are pretty excited about moving outdoors in 2010. Gerald Laird leading off the 4th for Detroit. Pavano hoping for a easier time of it. The Tigers have made him work here through 3 innings. They've scored twice and left 5 men on. Capacity of just under 40,000 seats. And the Metrodome located on the east end of downtown Minneapolis. Target Field will be on the west end. And the Twins are quite eager to get into their new ballpark. It took them about 10 years to get legislative approval to move out of the Metrodome. They're foul back.
It looks like it's going to be state of the art.
will try again. 2 strikes to Laird. Adam Everett to follow, and then Curtis Granderson. Poke to short right. And Kubel comes in to make the catch. 1 away. And they'll bring up Everett. Imagine that. Real grass. And after today, just 4 games left. The Tigers and Twins wrap up the series tomorrow. Then at the very end of the regular season, the Kansas City Royals come in here, and fitting that it's the Royals. The Twins' other ballpark was Metropolitan Stadium in a southern suburb here. And the Royals closed out that ballpark back in 1981. And the Royals will close out, well, I hesitate to even call this a ballpark, this stadium. There is the outside chance. 1 strike to Everett. Up the middle and off of Pavano. Picked up by Busher. Got in. Score at 1-5-3, and Pavano looked like he got a skate save, deflecting it over to Busher.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and that's exactly the case here. And Busher over at third. Johnny on the spot. Bare hands that ball off 1 hop. Get him in. Looked like it got him around the heel. 1 hopper to Busher. Able to throw Laird out at first base. Everett, excuse me.
Yeah, right off the heel of his right spike.
Nice ricochet.
2 down, and that'll bring up Granderson.
Granderson has been first pitch swinging on both of his at-bats today against Pavano, and that's the reason why. Pavano has been threading that needle with strike 1.
And Granderson slaps a single to left. Pavano hoping for a 1-2-3 inning. He'll go back into the stretch and pitch to Polanco.
You talked about it earlier, the fact that Pavano does not do a very good job of giving Mauer time to throw when there's a base stealer on first base. And Granderson, not a true base stealer, but has quite a few this year, and this is a situation with 2 outs where he should be looking to get to second base, get himself in the scoring position for Polanco. And Polanco will take a pitch or 2 for him to do so.
Tigers have 70 steals on the season, and Granderson has 20 of them. I don't know whether Pavano's throw came out of Kadyr's glove and hit Granderson. That's exactly what happened. Granderson got hit in the helmet or high up on the shoulder blade. Maybe a smile about it.
Looked like Granderson was leaning when Pavano threw over there on that first pitch.
Polanco with a pair of singles and runs scored already against Pavano. Granderson does not go on the first pitch, and Polanco takes a strike. Granderson goes, and the pitch poked to center field. Polanco has his 3rd hit of the afternoon. Granderson scampers to third base. 2 hits to center, 1 to right, and Polanco and the Tigers threatening here with 2 outs.
That was a really good pitch right there that Polanco was able to get off of the dirt and single sharply into center field. Look at the location of this pitch. It's down. It's off the plate, but Polanco reaches out and still able to put this ball in play with some authority and hit it to the right spot. Punto, the second baseman, was not covering the shortstop. Cabrera was. Had Punto been covering, Punto would have made that play.
There's a reason Polanco, with 555 at bats, has only struck out 38 times. Swings like that, the ability to make some kind of contact.
He is the toughest player to strike out in the American League, and really has been that since putting on the Tigers uniform.
Here's Guillen. Tigers, as we said, have already left 5 men on through 3 innings. Swing and a foul back on a pitch left up by Pavano.
And Joe Mauer went out in front of home plate before that first pitch to Guillen and went through a number of signs for his infielders to tell them if Polanco takes off from from first base, what he's going to do with the baseball. Whether he throws through to second, whether he comes up and fakes the second and goes to third, or whether he just holds the baseball. But you have to predetermine what you're going to do as a catcher here when you have a first and third situation.
And Pavano drops a curve on the outside corner. Being one of those guys that's really been stymied by Pavano. He's 0 for 2 today and 0 for 11 so far against the Twins right-hander. Tigers have had a hit batter and collected 8 singles in the early going against Pavano. Fastball inside 1-2.
Mauer does something that you don't see a lot of catchers doing, and that's with a runner that is not on second base. And he is still going through a series of signs here with Pavano. Not just one sign like most guys put down when there's a runner not at second. He's going through a series of signs here for Pavano.
Called third strike. And the Tigers get a couple more singles and leave 2 men on. They've left 7 on through 4 innings. Lead off the 4th for the Twins against Justin Verlander. Kugel takes low, ball 1. He lined out to Cabrera for the final out of the 1st inning. Popped up back into the seats for a good part of this season. This ball hit some of the structure above. It used to be here that balls were in play after hitting a speaker or a light or a cable, and they changed that rule about 3-4 years ago. so that any ball in foul territory that hits anything above the playing field is now a dead ball. So even though Laird caught that, it's just a strike. I don't think the Twins will miss not having speakers over the playing field at Target Field. 1-2 to Kubel.
No, I don't think so.
For a good part of the season, the Twins had 3 left-handed hitters in a row in the middle of their lineup: Mauer, Morneau, and Kubel. And now, of course, Morneau's season is done. And Kubel with a tapper to second. First out of the inning. Twins chasing the Tigers, but right now the Tigers are in the driver's seat, and if they were to win the division, they would open up against the Yankees, and the Red Sox would be taking on the Angels, and the Tigers, like everybody else, have had a tough time against the Yankees.
Yankees have a tremendous team. They have Sabathia, that's won 17 games. Andy Pettit pitching some of his best baseball. Of course, you've got Rivera at the back end of the ball game.
Dwyer in the first pitch flies it to right center field, and it's caught by Ordonez in the gap, 2 down. And the news for the American League Central doesn't get any better if the Twins were to overtake the Tigers, because the Twins were 0 for 7 against the Yankees this year.
I thought Jim Leland had a great quote back in 2006 when the Tigers were the wild card winner and they went into New York to start the division series. Leland said it was the varsity against the junior varsity. And it's pretty much that way with everybody that goes into New York these days. That's just how well they've played under their skipper, Joe Girardi.
1-0 to Delman Young, and a swing and a miss, 1-1.
But it helps when you've got those types of pieces. Mark Teixeira, you've got Jeter having one of his best years. A-Rod has not had a great year, but he is still a force in the middle of that batting order. Swisher in the outfield has been tremendous for them. But as I said earlier, it boils down to pitching. And the Tigers, if they get in there, they always have a Verlander, they have a Jackson, they have a Porcello. Jared Washburn, who they acquired from the Seattle Mariners, has a bum knee, and he's not quite 100%. He's missed a start. He's supposed to start tomorrow, but he's not. If they get him back healthy, who knows what will happen?
I would think if the Tigers were to win the division, it would be critical for them to win it early enough to set up their rotation so that when they play at Yankee Stadium, it is Verlander or Jackson or maybe even the rookie Porcello. Swing and a miss. The Tigers, like a lot of teams in the Central, are having a tough time filling out the back end of their rotation. It's 2-1 Detroit as we go to the 5th. set to face Miguel Cabrera as we begin the 5th inning. Detroit leading 2-1. They've cracked out 8 singles against Carl Pavano, and Cabrera has 2 of them. Drove in a run with a bloop single in the first. 1-1. Pavano will probably finish up this season a little bit short of the 200 innings pitched mark. Of course, he doesn't have any long-term equity in the Twins organization. He has said he'd like to come back here. It's been a good fit for him. But he's already pitched more innings for the Indians and Twins this year than he did in his time with the Yankees.
He signed a 4-year contract to go to the Yankees after the 2004 season when he was playing for the Florida Marlins. And he had 4 years of injury after injury while wearing a Yankees uniform.
1-2 to Cabrera, and now 2-2. Twins have needed someone like Pavano because they lost 3 members of their projected starting rotation to the disabled list. And now Cabrera. Well, that ball dropped by Punto in short right field.
Punto overran it. That's how quick he is from that second base position. He thought he was running to the spot where the ball was going to come down at him. He simply ran too far.
It's a base hit for Cabrera, his 3rd. And he almost went back on that ball as if he might have lost it at some point in the lights. Another leadoff hit for Detroit. And Aubrey Huff will come to the plate. Drove in the 2nd Tiger run with a single in the 3rd. And missing inside, ball 1.
It's the first time Aubrey Huff has had an opportunity to play for a pennant contender down the stretch. Spent a number of years in Tampa when they were losing a lot. Had a short stint in Houston and was playing in Baltimore before the Tigers acquired him. And he said he is enjoying every moment of it.
And inside again, 2-0, and Mauer will go to the mound.
It's one thing you can't take for granted as a player. When you will get to the postseason, how many meaningful games you're playing in September. You have to really just embrace the moment, and that's what Gardenhire are preaching to their clubs.
Jim Leyland, some would say, has done a better job managing his Tiger team this year than he did 3 years ago when the Tigers went to the World Series.
He's done a nice job with his pitching staff. Good count to hit him here if you're Aubrey Huff. 2 balls and no strikes. Predictable fastball count.
Chopped towards short. And Cabrera gets the out there and the relay out in time. So Orlando Cabrera retiring Miguel Cabrera at second base, 1 away. And that'll bring up Maglio Ordonez. Ordonez earlier this year, he got his first real haircut in 5 years. And today, before the game, somebody
handed him one of the Maglio wigs they had a couple of years ago. Maglio cut his hair because he was struggling offensively, and every now and then you'll find a player that is superstitious and will simply do something like that. He cut his hair off to hope to change his luck.
1 strike to Ordonez. For the hole and through, and another Tigers single. 10 singles for Detroit here in less than 5 innings against Carl Pavano. First and second, 1 away. And here's today's Taco Bell bringing the heat pitching comparison.
Well, you look at Verlander. He has thrown 97, 99 on a couple of occasions, 97 in the 4th. And the flip side of that is Pavano would touch these velocities, but he pretty much pitches in the 86 to 88 mile per hour range with real good movement and outstanding control.
2 on, 1 out. Stefano has been dealing with difficult situations all game long. And in for the half swing, a strike. Tigers got 2 singles in the first, a hit batter and a single in the second, 3 singles in the third, 2 in the fourth, and 2 already here in the fifth. Another half swing. This time he checked, 1-1. The Tigers, if nothing else, have been pretty resilient since they got a piece of first place in early May. There was one point later that month where the Twins had swept the series here, got into a tie, and then a week later the Twins were 5.5 games back. And then in August the White Sox got into a tie with the Tigers, and then you picked up the newspaper a few days later, the Tigers had beaten the White Sox 3 straight and pushed them back again. On the right field line, and a fair ball. Nice job by Kubel trapping that first hop. That is a dangerous play on this artificial turf, and Kubel smothered it to keep Huff from scoring.
It's a bloop single down the right field line. Aubrey Huff on second base had to wait to make sure that Kubel was not going to catch it. He was about halfway, and he's not quite sure what to do here. And then finally, when he sees the ball going to drop, he's able to get to third base. But what you have to do before that play, when you get to second base, you have to look to see at where the defenders are playing. Therefore, you can make the adjustments in scoring if you know he's not going to get there.
Meeting on the mound tomorrow on Fox NFL Sunday. Drew Brees and the Saints take on the Eagles in Philadelphia. Brett Favre leads the Vikings into Detroit to take on the Lions. Or later, the Buccaneers head to Buffalo to take on Terrell Owens and the Bills, or other regional action. Coverage begins tomorrow with America's #1 pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. Pretty good bet that in Minnesota and Detroit it'll be Brett Favre against Matthew Stafford.
How about those for extremes? 270 consecutive starts for Favre against the rookie Stafford first year.
Gary Bradshaw doing here. Well, a big spot here for the Tigers. They have a chance to break the game open perhaps. First pitch up and in to Gerald Laird. They have had ample opportunities to put up some crooked numbers here today, but so far just the single run in the first and another one in the third. Laird with a single and a fly ball to right. Bouncer to short. A tailor-made double play ball. presented by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect combination of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. And Justin Verlander has been given a pair of one-run leads. The first one is long gone. And the Tigers, by game's end, might be wishing they had done more with the opportunities they've had in the first 5 innings.
They've had lots of base runners, but they have not been able to come up with the big hit against Pavano. But what's new? And that's what Pavano has been able to do against the Tigers all year.
Morales walked in the second. He takes ball 1 from Verlander here in the 5th. 1-1.
Good firm fastball by Verlander right by the youngster, Morales.
Foul back. 1-2. Verlander giving up the home run to Mauer in the first and a couple of hits since then, and the walk to Morales. But he's had a much easier time of it here this afternoon than Carl Pavano. 1-2 to the Twins DH. And a foul back. Brian Busher on deck. Twins 3 years ago were chasing the Tigers in the division standings and didn't catch them until their season was over with. Down low, 2-2. One of the more memorable scenes here at the Metrodome was after game 162. Crowd of about 40,000 staying to watch the television feed of the Tigers season ending in a loss to Kansas City at Comerica Park. Looped to left, and Guillen coming in, and he plays it on a hop. And Morales is aboard with a leadoff single. Now for a DirecTV game break, and again we take you out to the West Coast. Couple of home runs for the Dodgers. Matt Kemp off Brad Penny. And the next batter, James Loney, driving it to right field. His first at home this season off Penny. 7-1 Dodgers over the Giants.
Brad Penny asked for his release from the Boston Red Sox and was given his release and signed with the Giants and has been very good for the Giants, but not good today against his former team, the Dodgers.
Penny with a preference to go back to the National League, and there was some interest here in Minnesota for Penny as the Twins were trying to fill in some holes in their rotation. Of course, they filled one of those with Pavano. 1 strike to Busher. And Busher has seen 5 pitches from Verlander and 5 strikes. Which ought to tell you how quickly his first at bat went. 3 pitches and he went down swinging. Punto will hit next. And Busher gone again. 3 pitches, 2 down.
Verlander has thrown a lot of fastballs in this game. Has not gone to his changeup that often. He has not thrown his curveball. And very few sliders. But why change if you're having success? But sooner or later, he will need those secondary pitches. And you hope he still has a feel for those pitches, even though he hadn't thrown many in this game.
Here is Punto at a long at bat that ended in a fine play by Cabrera. Tigers have lost 8 of their last 11 games. They really need Verlander to pitch a good ball game here today, and so far he's done just that. Punto takes ball 1. Particularly, Rod, given what the Tigers are sending to the mound tomorrow. Now, all reports are that Nate Robertson is healthy. He had some inflammation in his hip area, and they are hopeful that he'll be able to do well. But Robertson is only put into the rotation because Jared Washburn is out with his knee issue. Every time Verlander's turn comes up in the rotation, it's going to be critical for the Tigers to get a good start from him.
Also, the Minnesota Twins are under 500 against left-handed pitching. So anytime you get a chance to run some left-handed pitching at them with the left-handed dominant lineup of a Mauer and a Kubel, and you've got Punto, you've got Span, you have to do so. And I'm sure that's exactly why Jim is giving that start to Robertson tomorrow.
Twins approaching this series knowing that they, at the very least, had to win the series 2-1. And ideally, for them, they would get a sweep. They've been out hit so far here today, 11-4. Morales not much of a threat to steal, but Verlander paying some attention to it anyway. That's in the dirt. Nice block again by Laird. You know, it's unfortunate. You were talking about Laird, what a great defensive catcher and what a great defensive season he's had. The tough thing is, and whether it should be this way or not, it can be debated that when you're hitting 220, your chances of winning a Gold Glove aren't very good.
No, they're not. Those of us that have been in the game for some time, we know that Gold Glove award is tied to offense as well.
Punto backed out of the box, but I believe that was a pitch.
I don't think he was given timeout.
The count is 3-1.
You have to make sure you get timeout before you step out of the batter's box. And he was not given time.
He just moved out of the box. So 3-1 to the number 9 hitter. Verlander has walked Morales, the number 7 hitter. And Punto pops it back and out of play.
Looked like Punto may have swung at ball 4 right there. But when you have a guy on the mound that's throwing as hard as Verlander is throwing, and you know you're going to get that fastball, you tend to swing at it because you have to get started a lot earlier than you would against guys that do not have the overpowering fastball. That was ball 4.
If the Twins send Morales on a 3-2 pitch, I would think not. Verlander leading the league in strikeouts, but Morales goes and Punto lifts it to center. Morales has to retouch second and get back to first. 2 down.
Now let's take a look at Verlander and how overpowered he has been this afternoon against Minnesota Twins hitters, but he needed to be overpowering today. His team needs to win. He's got that fastball in the mid-90s. He can throw right by you. He can also back off and throw you a changeup and a curveball, but give you the same arm speed, which makes it very deceptive and very tough for the hitter to pick up.
Verlander looking at Polanco. I'm wondering if they're going to appeal at second base. That Morales retouched second. Apparently not. Here's Span. Dropped a single to left field his first time up.
Span is one of those guys that gets his feet. I'm talking about that front foot set real early, which makes it a little bit easier for him to put balls in play against a hard thrower like Verlander.
A fly to right center field, and Anderson makes the catch. Span gone on the pitch, and the Twins are stymied again in the 5th. Sponsored by DirecTV. Follow your favorite team no matter where you live with NFL Sunday Ticket on DirecTV. By KFC. Now get the great taste of new Kentucky grilled chicken on the KFC Ultimate Value Menu. And by Sears. Sears, life well spent. 2-1 Detroit. Top of the 6th inning. Adam Everett will lead it off against Carl Pavano. First pitch popped up toward Cabrera. 1 down. Take a look at the Hyundai in-game box score. Detroit Tigers introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. A lot of hits. Polanco and Cabrera each with 3 singles, but all the hits have been singles.
11 of them. Tigers have not been able to come up with a big hit this afternoon against Pavano.
Anderson singled his last time up. He takes strike 1. I asked Granderson today about the Metrodome and how he felt as an opposing outfielder. Outfielders have forever had problems here seeing the baseball. He says, yeah, he's had some problems in the right center field tracking some balls, but he says he enjoys playing here because no rain delays. You know what time the game is going to start. As a speed player, he enjoys the artificial turf that they have here. A little bit faster surface.
And the climate's always comfortable.
2-1 from Pavano to Granderson. And now a strike.
You just wonder when Minnesota goes into their new field next year and how it's going to affect guys like Mauer and Morneau and some of your pitchers early in the year. It's awfully comfortable to come to the Metrodome in April and hit in this kind of climate. How will they do when they have to go outside and play in 30-degree weather? My guess is they're going to be good, but will they be as good?
Bouncer to second. Right to Punto. Out number 2. That's Ozzie Guillen's contention that when the Twins move out of here and the Twins have to play in elements like the White Sox, Tigers, Indians, to a lesser extent, I guess, the Royals, that they will struggle early in the season. And it's Guillen's contention that some of the Metrodome magic that has caused the Twins to play to success with the quirkiness here will be gone.
Well, it's a good conversation. There will be no artificial surface, which means the game will be a little slower. And if you have speed players, you just wonder.
1 strike to Polanco. Pavano has a chance to have a 1-2 inning. He had a chance in the 4th, but then gave up a pair of singles. Bouncer to 3rd. So a much better inning for Pavano. A 1-2-3-6. It's still a 1-run game. question is, did Jose Morales retouch second base? He must have, because there were at least two pairs of eyes watching him. You can see the Tigers put a little bit of a decon trying to get him to slide, but then right there with the left foot, he retouched second base and then retreated to first.
That's why the Tigers didn't appeal. They had a couple of guys watching him, a couple of their middle infielders.
Ball one to Orlando Cabrera. He's hit a pop up to second and struck out against Justin Verlander. It's been a pitcher's duel. And Verlander's been a pretty tough guy to deal with for the Twins. And he misses inside 2-0. Twins run, scoring on a Mauer first inning home run. Cabrera, Mauer, and Kubel. There's a strike on the inside corner, 2-1. Cabrera, Mauer, and Kubel lined up to face Verlander here in the sixth. Foul down by the Tiger bullpen, which is inactive and looks like it'll remain inactive for a while. Let's take a look at the Hyundai in-game box score for the Minnesota Twins. Introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. There's 4 hits, the Mauer home run, and 3 scratch singles. And now Cabrera hits it by Miguel Cabrera for another leadoff single. Twins got a leadoff hit in the third, didn't do anything with it. A leadoff hit in the fifth, and now another one in the sixth.
This is what Mauer did back in the first. Verlander tried to go inside with a good fastball, and Mauer was waiting for it. Pulls his hands in nicely, cleared his hips, and generated a whole lot of bat speed.
You know, one of the things that was in play there was a great hitter adjusting. Last night, Rick Porcello of the Tigers had some success with fastballs inside to Mauer. So Verlander tried it in his first at bat, and Mauer made the adjustment and tied the game.
That's why Mauer is who he is. He knew exactly what Verlander would try to do because Porcello was successful last night, and he was sitting on that pitch and he was able to get to it. But usually Mauer's hitting the ball the other way.
And Verlander pitches him up and away, ball one.
A large majority of his hits this year, really in his career, have been to left field and center field. Very few to the pull field.
Swing and a foul, 1-1.
Very seldom do you see Mauer out in front.
You can see the Tiger outfield, Granderson in center shading over to left center field.
Take a look at the powerful swing here. Very seldom is he out in front. He stays back on that backside a long time. Good hip rotation. There are few that have the hand-eye coordination that Mauer has in the major leagues these days.
1-1 to the Twins catcher. Now high, 2-1.
When the Tigers have had success against Mauer, and they have not had a lot of it, it's after a good fastball like Verlander just threw him. Then you come back with something slow, the curveball or the changeup, and you get him to roll over towards second base. Really, that's the only way you have success against Mauer. Verlander wants the fastball.
And he misses. It's 3-1 with Kubel on deck. Tigers have had a share of the lead going back to May. Both Verlander and Rick Porcello each went 5-0 in the month of May.
The pitching, for the most part, has allowed Detroit to be in the position it's in right now.
And Mauer lifts it foul to fill the count. So Cabrera, not much of a base stealing threat anymore. He has just 2 steals since coming over to the Twins.
When he takes off here, though, he will not be trying to steal the base. He'll simply be trying to stay out of the double play. I believe that Gardenhire has a lot of confidence in Mauer to put the ball in play and not strike out.
Verlander got him on strikes in the third. Cabrera goes, and Mauer fouls it back. It's really the only close race in baseball, and it's been made close with the Twins' 5-game winning streak, including a win in the series opener last night.
And the Tigers have struggled. They have only won 3 of their last 11 games.
The Tigers have been chipping away at Carl Pavano. They haven't knocked him out yet. And Cabrera chased back to the bag.
And Cabrera was running on that first 3-2 pitch to Mauer, and he'll be on the move again. If Verlander somehow is able to strike out Mauer again in this game, then Laird most definitely will throw Cabrera out at second base.
3-2 to Mauer. Cabrera goes and the pitch bounced. Another nice sprawling catch by Cabrera. We've seen him in this series make 3 plays like that twice today.
And that's how you have to pitch to Mauer. That's how you have to get Mauer out. You have to get him to pull something on the right side of the infield. Cabrera is really starting to learn the finer points of playing first base, and that's part of it. When you're holding a runner on, you have to shuffle off as quickly as possible and get him in a good athletic position to make those types of plays.
Boy, if one of the concerns for Cabrera at third base was his mobility, he's showing great mobility on the other side of the diamond.
Let's take a look at this pitch by pitch and how he goes after Mauer. First and foremost, there's fastball after fastball on the outside part of the plate. Now he's trying to come inside, and he's finally going to throw him a fastball inside, which Cabrera makes a very nice play on at first base, but everything was hard. All fastballs to Mauer.
Kubel with the tying run at second and 1 away. Right up the middle. Fielded behind the bag by Everett. 2 down, and the runner moves up another base. Kubel hit it right off the end of the bat.
That's a good pitch by Verlander. No doubt Kubel up there sitting on a fastball, and Verlander threw him the first pitch changeup with some nice fading action as he got into the hitting zone, and he hit it right off the end of the bat. That's what they talk about when they say keeping hitters off balance.
Well, the Twins had the leadoff single by Cabrera, and now 2 outs later, he's moved 2 bases toward home plate. Here's Cuddyer. He's hit a couple of outfield flies, 1 to center, 1 to right. It was Cuddier's 2-run home run that got the Twins going in last night's ball game.
Verlander needs to pitch cautiously here to Cuddyer. And we put his numbers up earlier in the last 5 games. He's been sizzling. No disrespect to Delman Young in the on-deck circle, but if you're going to pick your poison here, it would be Young that you'd rather go after instead of Cuddyer.
Cuddyer 0 for 2 today against Verlander and 5 for 29 in his career against the Tiger right-hander. 1-1.
Ooh.
Breaking pitch, and it's 1-2.
That's filthy. Look at the body speed here. He gives you all this body, and it looks like he's coming with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and he backs off and throws an outstanding breaking ball with tremendous depth. Oh, that's a good pitch.
And Cuddyer lays off the next breaking ball to even the count. 100 pitches for Verlander. And the Tigers have been quite willing to let him go up to 125 or so in the pennant drive here.
He'll do that today.
Two and 2. High chopper over the mound. Polanco plants and throws, and the Twins strand the runner at third. 2-1 Detroit will return to Budweiser, great American lager. 2-1 Detroit, and we start the 7th inning with Carlos Guillen leading things off against Carl Pavano. A swing and a miss, and Guillen, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to be able to see the ball very well against Pavano. Guillen holding that left hand. With his right hand, I guess. He might have felt a twinge in there.
Sometimes you'll see hitters do that when they've been fooled on an off-speed pitch when they're looking for a fastball, and it looked like that was the case there on that first swing by Carlos.
Changeup just missing. Pavano's changeup almost a split finger pitch. He was showing me how he threw it the other day, and doesn't call it a splitter, but he obviously it takes a lot of speed off his fastball and also has some downward movement. So, for lack of a better term, it's a splitter or a forkball.
Several guys throw that type of changeup these days. The other changeup preference is the circle changeup, where the pitchers have all of their the ball in their palm of the hand, and they kind of show you that circle with their index finger and their thumb, which meets.
1-2 to Guillen. Now 2-2. It'll be Guillen, Cabrera, and Huff facing Pavano, who's just thrown his 89th pitch. Guillen, technically a switch hitter, but for the most part, he's been just a left-handed batter. He had one right-handed bat the other day. The shoulder, which has given him problems this year, just won't allow him to be a full-time switch hitter.
He has started to take some batting practice from the right side, but that's not comfortable. I don't expect him to hit a whole lot right-handed this year, nor do the Tigers, obviously.
Pavano hasn't walked anybody yet. 3-2 to the leadoff man here in the 7th. Skied to center. And Span makes the catch. 1 away. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the playoff race heats up as the AL wildcard leading Red Sox take on the AL East leading Yankees. Possible ALCS preview. Or the Cubs battle the Giants as San Francisco looks to gain ground in the National League wildcard race. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Budweiser, returns next week at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Fox.
What a tough year it's been for the Chicago Cubs.
My goodness. Pitch just outside ball 1 to Miguel Cabrera. Cubs lately a perennial playoff team, and in second place, but 10 games back.
Nothing went right for them this year.
2-0 to Cabrera. 3 singles for Cabrera and an RBI base hit in the first inning. Just a little pop fly single to short center. Delman Young charging in, doing a belly flop and making the catch. 2 down.
He got a pretty good jump on this ball, and as I said earlier in this game, when you have a guy in the batter's box that has power, like Cabrera, they take a full swing. You have to wait momentarily to find out exactly what the baseball is doing. And he got a pretty good jump on that ball, and Pavano loves it.
So 2 down, and here's Aubrey Huff. Swing and a miss, and now you look up, and here's Pavano retiring 6 batters in a row, like he's caught a second wind here. It's just a 2-1 ball game. Jesse Crain warming up in the Twins bullpen. 101 pitches now for Pavano. Oh, and 2.
That last pitch, a perfect example of why and how he has been so successful. This ball is right on the outside black. If you're Huff, there's nothing you can do with that pitch. Absolutely nothing.
And he skips by Mauer, 1 and 2. Might have actually stung Mauer as it went to the backstop.
No days off these days for Mauer. Usually a catcher. When you play a few days in a row down the stretch, you get a day off. but his days off come as a designated hitter.
I would think that whatever chances he had of getting a day off for the balance of the season went out the door when Justin Morneau went on the disabled list or was ruled out for the season. Tap foul, still 1-2.
If you're Ron Gardenhire, it's a very delicate situation. You have arguably one of the best players in the game of baseball, and he's a catcher. He plays a demanding position, so he needs a blow every now and then. But how in the world can you write out a lineup and not put your best player in the lineup?
Well, since he missed the month of April, Mauer has missed since May 1st just 3 games. There have been some games where he has not played or started, but then been asked to come off the bench and pinch hit and maybe stay in the game and catch the balance of the game. 1-2. And Huff lunges at it, got a piece of it to keep the at-bat alive.
You have to spoil good pitches on occasion, and that's exactly what Aubrey does there. That ball is probably off the plate. It is off the plate, excuse me. There's no question about that, but he was able to foul it off.
And now 2-2. Got him looking. A slider or a cutter that clipped the corner, and Pavano has a 1-2-3 7th inning. Sponsored by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men. By Pepsi. Pepsi is the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. And by Hyundai Assurance, a little certainty in uncertain times. A 1-run lead for Justin Verlander. Delman Young leading off the Twins' 7th. First pitch. Great stop behind the bag by Inge. And Young will get a single instead of a double. What a phenomenal play by Brandon Inge.
Brandon has really good range at the third stop position. One step on a dive, he can't get up because of the speed of Young, so he throws off his right knee, and it's not a good throw over the first base, which allows Young to beat it out. It's a nice job by the first baseman, Cabrera, coming off the bag to make sure that ball did not roll down the right field line.
Carlos Gomez will run for Delman Young because runs are at a premium. Extra bases are at a premium here, and that might be a game-saving play by Inge, holding Young to a single rather than a double. Don Kelly's in left field. You got a pretty good view of a great play by Brandon Inge. Here's Jose Morales.
Well, does Gomez dare run, knowing how good Laird has been this year, throwing guys out trying to steal bases?
Third inning in a row where the Twins have had a leadoff single, but so far they've not been able to get that second run. Morales has reached both times against Verlander. Lifted to the left field corner, where Kelly awaits for the first out. Gomez got a late retreat to the first base bag, unable to tag one away.
Just a matter of time before Gomez attempts to steal second base. Ron Gardenhire did not put him in the game just to stand over there.
Now here's Busher, who's had a terrible time today, even making contact. Lyon and Bobby C. warming up in the Tiger pen.
That tandem out of the Tigers bullpen has been a very good one this year, especially late in games.
Here's Busher, has yet to make contact against Verlander, has yet to even take a ball, and he takes ball one there. Busher has struck out twice on 6 pitches prior to this plate appearance.
Well, you wonder if Ron Gardenhire will try to help Busher out here. Verlander's throwing fastball after fastball by him all day long, but if you put a hit and run on, that forces a guy to put the ball in play.
Gomez goes. Laird throws him out. What a weapon the Tigers have in Gerald Laird behind the plate.
Look at the exchange. He gets to the front side, which allows the arm to come up. Everett grabs it, and he throws out one of your faster base runners in all of baseball. It's amazing this year the accuracy that Laird has thrown with in throwing out base runners, and not just guys who are average runners. I'm talking about some really fast guys he's been able to throw out this year.
Well, in today's game, he threw out Span and Gomez. They may be the 2 fastest players on the Twins roster. Another right-hander, Mac Guerrero, joined Jesse Crain in the Twins pen. 2 down now, 2-1 to Busher, and he hits a little roller to second. And Verlander's completed 7 innings, giving up just the 1 run. It's 2-1 Detroit as we move to the 8th. take a look at the Zantac relief pitcher profile. Heartburn, attack it. Zantac. Jesse Crane coming into the ball game here in relief of Carl Pavano, and it's been a different Jesse Crane who is pitching for the Twins than the one they sent to Rochester earlier this year. Denard Span has moved into left field. Carlos Gomez staying in the game and taking over in center. 1-0 to Ordonez, and now down low 2-0.
And one thing Jesse Crane has always had, and the majority of the Minnesota Twins pitchers do as much. They throw lots of strikes with their fastball. Very seldom do they miss the strike zone with their fastballs.
And foul back, 2-1. Crane's overall numbers aren't all that good, but they are much better than they were when the Twins sent him down to AAA. He's come back and given the Twins a power arm out of the bullpen.
Well, obviously Ron Gardenhire has a lot of trust in him right now to put him in a 2-1 game in the 8th.
Called strike, 2-2. Ordonez hitting at 289. Tigers would love it if he would somehow, some way rediscover the power in his game. Three and two. Ordonez hit a big 3-run home run here against the Twins earlier this year, but by and large he's been a singles hitter this year. Ordonez with 121 hits, just 28 extra base hits. 3-2. Breaking ball, spun back to the net.
Maglio, there was a time at the beginning of August that he was trying to generate more power, and one of the things they did was they kind of opened his stance up a little bit, which allowed him to get his hips out of the way and get some good bat speed through the strike zone. He did that for about a week and started pulling off some baseballs, so he's gone back to his prior approach, which is hitting the ball up the middle and the other way.
Nice pickup by Kadire. A hot ground ball turned into an out, 1 away.
Right on cue. That's what Maglio does a lot of.
One down in the 8th inning. Weekdays make lunchtime your new prime time as FoxSports.com brings you lunch with benefits. Log on to check out new episodes of original sports shows delivered to your desktop every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. This Monday, don't miss the After Party with Jay Glazer, presented by Sprint, where Jay chats with all of the NFL's biggest performers only at FoxSports.com on MSN. One down in the 8th. Here's Inge. Inge hasn't been involved in the 2 runs the Tigers have scored, but he may have turned in an invaluable defensive play in the bottom half of the 7th inning. And Crane splits the plate in half, 1-1.
Yeah, that play that he made kept Delman Young off of second base. It should have been a double, and then Gomez came in a pinch run, and Gerald Laird threw him out attempting to steal.
Popped up right field. Jason Kugel puts it away, 2 down. This game-changing play is brought to you by Holiday Inn. Signs of change are everywhere.
Well, it's been Laird doing with the throwing arm. That's Span earlier in the ball game trying to steal. Very nice tag applied by Placido Polanco, and then last half inning, the speedster Gomez tries him, and it's Everett, the shortstop, that is able to make the play, and Laird is fired up.
And now he's hitting. 1 for 3 on the day. And a check swing dribbler to center. Crane has a 1-2-3 top of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th coming up in a 1-run game. sponsored by Holiday Inn, official partner of Major League Baseball road trips. By Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. And by EAS, don't waste your workout. Finish it with EAS Mileplex. On the subject of finishing, Luke Thomas in right field. And Justin Verlander still on the mound in the 8th inning, delivering strike one to Nick Punto. He has thrown now 110 pitches on the afternoon. Punto is 0 for 2.
Well, Jim Leland has his best defensive club in the ball game right now. With the adjustments he's made the last couple of innings, Kelly in left and Cleek Thomas in right.
You have to respect pitchers like Verlander, who seem to have a finishing kick. Here he is in the 8th inning. He's just shaved the inside corner, then the outside corner to Punto to get quickly ahead of him.
And he's still throwing 95, 96 miles an hour.
And he gets Punto on 3 pitches. And Verlander among a list of candidates for the American League Cy Young Award.
Well, we've had a chance to watch him up close and personal today. He leads the American League in strikeouts. CC Sabathia has had a really good year, but a lot of people don't talk about him a whole lot. Hernandez out in Seattle very quietly has put together a spectacular year, but Zach Greinke is the best pitcher I've seen this year, even though he only has 14 wins. No one consistently has been better than Greinke.
And now Span slashes one to left. He's got one, and he'll hold up after taking a huge turn, and now he dives back to first. The pursuit of that extra base, it's frustrated the Twins all game long, and Span nearly took a gamble here.
Well, he made a wise decision not to go. Kelly gets over in a hurry and gets to this ball and gets it in. Span put a lot of pressure on Kelly, but then he was able to barely get back to first base. That's the way that the Minnesota Twins run the base pass, and Span continues his mastery over Verlander. This is how doubles are made. They're made out of the batter spots, and what you have to do as a base runner is you have to make that outfielder stop. And Kelly made Span stop.
Span would have been out at second, but he made it halfway there before he reversed his field. Now here's Orlando Cabrera. Span was thrown out trying to steal second in the 3rd.
They might be sacrificing here. One out, excuse me. Sorry about that.
1-0 to Cabrera. Singled his last time up, got as far as third base.
At this point in time, it would be risky for Span to try to steal second base.
And Cabrera takes inside, 2-0. 114 pitches for Verlander, but as we said, the Tigers are quite willing to let him go that extra 20, 25 pitches. I talked with Rick Knapp yesterday, the Detroit pitching coach, about that. He says pitch count is important, but more important is how you got there. Strike 2-1. In other words, if you're over 100 pitches and you've had innings like Pavano did early on, where there are men on base and every pitch is so critical, well, then it's more of a factor. You see again warming up with Lyon down in the Tiger bullpen.
Verlander has not had to pitch in a lot of stress today. And you saw he only has 6 strikeouts in the game. Sometimes Verlander has his best games when he's not racking up high strikeout totals. It takes a tremendous amount of toll on your arm when you're racking up as many strikeouts as Verlander can do on any given day.
2-1 to Orlando Cabrera. And a called strike, 2-2. Cabrera backs out of the box.
This is where Verlander usually starts to dial up to 97, 98 miles an hour. And that pitch at the knees is unhittable. Right over the plate.
2-2. Now 3-2. Now, what do you do with Span? We've seen Laird throw out 2 Twins runners trying to steal. You've got Mauer on deck, and the guy leading the league in strikeouts on the mound for Detroit.
Ooh, this is why the managers get paid the big bucks. But I'd have to think that he's going to start him.
There he goes. And the pitch lifted foul and out of play.
And it really has nothing to do with Mauer in the on-deck circle, because there's a lot of managers that would not run the risk of starting a runner here, knowing that he might be a strikeout, throw him out, and leave Mauer standing in that on-deck circle. But this is the way that Ron Gardenhire plays. And he plays this brand of baseball. He told us before the game he was not going to change for anyone.
That's 3-2 again to Orlando Cabrera.
It's the beauty of baseball.
Fouled out. Well, on the surface it seems simple. Verlander's not going to give you much, so you better try to create something.
And if you're Span and you're running on this 3-2 pitch, you have to treat this like you're stealing a base. You have to get the best lead you can, the best jump you can get. Just in case Cabrera strikes out, you want to give yourself the best chance of trying to steal a base. You can't treat this like I'm just trying to stay out of a double play.
Span goes again, and another one wasted by Cabrera.
He's not getting a very good jump either. It's Span.
Verlander with a season-high 127 pitches back in late July against the White Sox. And he has thrown 120 so far here today. But again, you look at the radar readings, and he's consistently in the mid-90s yet with the fastball, and he's been pitching to the edges of the strike zone. Span goes again, and the pitch popped up down the left field line. If Kelly sees it, he'll catch it. I don't know that he sees it. And now rolling to the corner. Span to third. He'll be held. And the Metrodome strikes the Tigers one more time. And for you lip readers out there, a good thing Jim Leland had his back turned to you.
This is a very difficult place to play. Kelly playing in the Metrodome for the very first time. We've seen several balls get lost in the baggie up top because it's the same color as the baseball. He never saw it. And you can see Span, he takes off, and he's just kind of hanging out. And then once he realizes that Kelly's having a difficult time with it, he's able to get over to third base. And Cabrera able to get to second. But we've seen it time and time again here in the Metrodome. You've got a base open, though, and you have one out. The best chance for the Tigers of getting out of this situation is to walk Mauer. You put Mauer on first base, and you hope you can get Kubel to hit him to a double play ball.
Mauer will be passed. As excited as the fans are to see him hit with the game on the line, he won't have a chance. As difficult as it is generally to see a fly ball against this white roof, it is significantly more difficult during the daytime. And that's what Kelly ran into here. The combination of the maybe late evening twilight against this translucent roof, and the ball just disappeared on
I was watching Kelly the entire way. He never took his eye off of the area where he thought the ball was going to come down at. But with that being said, he didn't see it off the bat. He never saw where the ball was going to be.
So now Verlander will be left to try to extract himself from this mess here in the 8th inning. 125 pitches, the last 4 lobbed in on an intentional pass, and it's Jason Kubel who is hitless this afternoon.
This is Verlander's game, and that's why he is still in the ball game. 125 pitches deep. He's also going up against a guy that has been very good in his career with the bases loaded, 5 grand slams, and an outstanding fastball hitter. Kubel doesn't miss fastballs when he knows they're coming.
Bases loaded, 1 away. And Laird keeps it in the dirt. Ball 1. You mentioned at the outset one of the keys for Verlander. We'll take a look at this pitch in the dirt.
That is so tough for a catcher just to get a glove on. That fastball was in the mid-90s, and it bounced. Usually catchers don't get glove on those, but Laird got lucky, kept it in front of him.
1-0 to Kubel. Fouled back on a high fastball. Look at the registry on that fastball, 98 miles per hour.
I would not be surprised if Verlander was able to throw a pitch at 100 miles an hour here in this pitch sequence.
Verlander in a tough spot. 1-1 to Kuba. Dumped down the left field line. It'll tie the game right on the heels of Span. Here comes Cabrera, and the Twins take the lead. Cabrera with a huge jump at second base. And the little flare drives in two, and the Twins take the lead. And Verlander can only smirk at his misfortune of pitching indoors in Minnesota.
Orlando Cabrera on second base read that perfectly. He knew exactly where Kelly was playing, and he was able to score no problem.
3-2 Minnesota in the eighth. Verlander with a great ball game, but he won't win here today. Joining a long list of outfielders who've lost fly balls here at the Metrodome, Cabrera's lost fly ball, opening the door a crack for the Twins. They've scored two. Now Brandon Lyon in to face Michael Kadire. Ball one. Lyon's been very good to the Tigers this year. All the numbers speak to how good he's been.
He gets it done with a mixture of different fastballs. He's got the cut fastball, which has kind of been his signature pitch this year, anywhere from 89 to 91 miles an hour. He'll also throw you a four-seam fastball, that velocity right around 94, and a curveball he uses as an off-speed pitch.
Kadire out in front, fouled it off the end of the bat.
Lyon was closing games for the Arizona Diamondbacks last year, the first half of the year, and racked up 26 saves, but struggled the second half of the season, which led to him being a free agent, and the Tigers were able to sign him.
Nathan warming up. The Twins have their first lead of the game. Blasted to left center field. Gone! A three-run home run. Cuddyer does it again for the Twins. And it's a 5-run inning with Gomez at the plate. Gomez making his first plate appearance after entering the game as a pinch runner last inning.
With the absence of Morneau in this batting order, they needed some guys to step up, and they have had a couple of guys step up that needed to do so, and that's Kubel with the big base hit, driving in a couple, and then Cuddyer with the big fly.
Gomez driving it to right center field. And a great running catch by Clete Thomas in the gap. Oh, what a catch by Thomas. But no one could catch this.
It's a four-seam fastball right around the belt buckle. Somehow Cuddyer able to get on top of that ball, and that ball was crushed to straightaway center field.
So 2 down in the 8th inning.
The Minnesota Twins play with such confidence here in their home ballpark. It's fascinating.
Nice running play by Thomas in front of Granderson.
That's why he was put into the outfield as a defensive replacement last half inning for Magglio Ordonez.
Now that it's a 4-run lead, it's not a save situation for Nathan anymore, and Matt Guerrero is taking over the bullpen mound for the Twins. Morales, a single, a walk, and a fly ball to left. 2 strikes. Cuddyer got the big home run to start the scoring last night, and now a big one here in the 8th. And Cabrera's fly ball to left, lost in the ceiling. The biggest play of the inning. 2 strikes again to Morales. Twins have never won 6 games in a row this year. It's been one of the reasons it's been, by his own admission, Ron Gardenhire's most frustrating year as manager. His team has not been able to play consistently good baseball at any point this season. And so it is odd that as the Twins lose one of their best players, and the former league MVP Justin Morneau, and a lot of people thought they would sag out of contention, just the opposite has happened.
Well, players step up and they realize that they have to still go on, and they find themselves in a very unique position because the Tigers nor the Chicago White Sox have really played good, consistent baseball all year.
A breaking ball in the dirt, and Laird flips to first to end the inning. But an interesting inning in the Metrodome. A lost fly ball setting up Michael Cuddyer for a mammoth home run. 4-run lead for the Twins, so it's Jose Mijares asked to pitch the ninth. Matt Tolbert in at third base for the Twins. Mijares will face Adam Everett, Curtis Granderson, and Placido Polanco.
He has been tremendous this year for Minnesota, a 2.17 earned run average in 58 innings pitched.
Particularly tough against left-handed batters, and Granderson one of those in the on-deck circle.
Would not be surprised to see Granderson pinch hit for. But then again, with the Tigers being down by quite a few, maybe not.
1-2. That the Twins don't have to use Nathan is good for them. There's Granderson in the on-deck circle, because Nathan had saved the last 4 games of the 5-game winning streak and could use a day off.
The Tigers do not want to see Nathan. Nathan is a perfect 29 of 29 in save and save opportunities against the Tigers in his career. 29 for 29.
His record is what Lee Smith, who was 37 for 37 against the Expos. 2-2 to Adam Everett. High fly to left field. Span over, and now he's lost it momentarily, but makes the catch. 1 down. Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball, congratulates Jason Kubel, today's MLB Clutch Performer of the Game, presented by Pepsi. 18 hits against the Tigers, none bigger than the one in the 8th inning.
Kubel is a very good fastball hitter. Verlander threw him a pitch that was located well. He jammed Kubel, but Kubel was still able to find some artificial surface in left field to drive in 2 big runs. Good base running by Orlando Cabrera, who got a good jump off second base, too.
And now Granderson skies it behind first. 2 down. And the Twins, who 2 weeks ago today were 7 games back of the Tigers in the American League Central. Tonight on Fox, Cops coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, followed by America's Most Wanted.
At that time, when they were 7 games back, Ron Gardenhire told his team, remember, you have 7 games left against Detroit, head-to-head. Just stay close and you'll have a chance to overtake them. Boy, was he right.
And make them, those games in Detroit the final week of the season, the 4 games at Comerica Park, make them meaningful, and it looks as if that's going to be the case. 1 strike to Polanco, and now low, 1-1. Tuesday night, the Twins weren't even above the 500 mark.
It's been a weird year in the American League Central.
2-1 to Polanco. Popped up, Kadire over for a look.
You brought it up earlier. The Tigers have been in first place this year since May 10th. But it really hasn't felt like a first place club because they've had so many different issues with their offense.
Last night was a game the Twins might have absolutely had to have. Point could be made that this was a game that the Tigers really needed. Foul by Polanco.
The Tigers came into this 3-game series trying to avoid one thing, and that was to be swept. Tomorrow, it looks like the Twins will have a chance to sweep Detroit. And if they don't finish off the sweep, then this weekend really wasn't all that bad for Detroit.
2-2 to Polanco. And Mijares, who, of course, would love to finish the ball game with a strikeout, must realize that Polanco doesn't do that very often. He doesn't chase many pitches. And is one of the better two-strike hitters in the game. 3-2. With Ryan Rayburn in the on-deck circle. The left center field. Span chasing it. And will land for a double. Span took a curious route to that ball. He broke way back and then over.
Well, we saw Span on the fly ball off the bat of Adam Everett to lead off this ninth inning. He had trouble with that one. And he's not getting good reads out there. It's one thing for Don Kelly, the Tigers outfielder, to lose one. But then it's another thing for a guy that plays here every day.
Guerrero will come in to face Rayburn with the Tigers down to their last out. And the Twins. This is such an important hitter for so many reasons. Matt Guerrero will face Ryan Rayburn. If Rayburn extends the game, it becomes a save situation, and the Twins would at least be tempted to warm up Nathan again, which no team likes to do with its closer, particularly one that saved its last 4 ball games.
But Gardenhire will get him up. And Guerrero pitching in his 72nd game this year, which is second most in the American League.
Polanco with a great at bat, hitting a double to keep the game alive. 1-0 to Rayburn. Back to the mound, and the Twins have won the first 2 against the Tigers and have at least won the series. A comeback win for the Twins, a Metrodome aided come from behind win by Minnesota.